First up on the show, over 8,400 people have died on both sides of the Gaza border since the Israel-Hamas war began. Israel has continued its airstrikes and is now preparing for a ground assault, even as there is no end in sight for the hostage crisis or the civilian casualties. The United Nations has raised concerns that the war crimes are being committed by both sides in this conflict. It has highlighted how Israel's use of explosive weapons in densely populated areas and Hamas's brutal actions and hostage-taking go against international laws. While the situation in the Gaza Strip remains dire, a UN agency says people in Gaza will die from catastrophic shortages, if not from bombs and strikes. Ever since Hamas's brutal attack on Israel that has claimed 1,400 lives, Israel has imposed a total siege on the region, cutting off water, food, medical supplies and fuel. People in the region have been starving for essentials. Hospitals are down to their last reserves of fuel even after Israel's decision to allow aid into Gaza through the Rafah crossing. Only 74 aid trucks have reached the war-battered region so far.
We have seen some deliveries of trucks starting. They started on the 21st of October. We have gotten in approximately 74 trucks. We're expecting another 8 or so today.
European nations are now backing urgent calls for aid to reach Gaza. 12 of Gaza's 35 hospitals have been forced to close. The UN has confirmed that 57 of its staff members have also been killed in Gaza ever since the war started. Israel Defense Forces also released footage of airstrikes against Hamas's infrastructure in Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel has amassed troops and tanks at the Gaza border ahead of an expected ground offensive. But what is still complicating the situation is the hostages being held in Gaza. Israel confirmed that around 229 hostages are being held at different locations in the region. But Hamas has tied the release of hostages held in Gaza to a ceasefire. A Hamas delegation visiting Moscow said time was needed to locate all those who had been taken from Israel, while adding that Israeli bombing had already killed 50 of its prisoners. Not just the Gaza Strip, in the West Bank too, violence continues to flare up. Palestine claims that at least 4 people were killed in an Israeli raid on Friday. Hamas members are among those dead. Meanwhile, a dozen others were injured during the skirmishes in Jenin and Kalkila. Concerns are also rising about a regional fallout. The United States has warned Iran against escalation while striking facilities in Syria. This was in retaliation to attacks against U.S. forces in Iraq and Iran-backed groups. Projectiles hit the 2 Egyptian Red Sea towns on Friday while injuring 6 people. Israel's military blamed an aerial threat in the Red Sea region, a possible reference to Yemen-Iran-backed Houthi movement, which is known to use drones. Later, another projectile fell near an electricity plant in a desert area of the town of Nuba, but no one has claimed responsibility so far.
In recent hours, an aerial threat was spotted in the Red Sea region. Combat helicopters were scrambled in response to the threat, and this matter is now being investigated. To our understanding, the strike that took place in Egypt originated in this threat. Israel will work with Egypt and the United States and bolster regional defenses against threats from the Red Sea region.
Multiple fires could be seen at the border between Israel and Lebanon ever since the Hamas attack. Israeli forces continue to exchange fire with Iran-backed Hezbollah. So far, 40 Hezbollah members have been killed in the crossfire. This as countries continue to call for a ceasefire. Saudi Arabia and 9 other Arab countries issued a statement after the Cairo summit while stressing on the urgency of a 2-state solution for lasting peace.